The massive space station hung like a silver jewel against the darkness of space. Inside, Ambassador James Miller adjusted his tie for the 10th time, trying to calm his nerves. This was humanity's first meeting with the Galactic Council, and he could feel the weight of Earth's future on his shoulders. "Please proceed through the security checkpoint," a tall, blue-skinned official said, gesturing at a glowing archway. The aliens' 4 eyes blinked in sequence as they studied the human delegation. Miller stepped forward, then paused. "Should we disarm first?" The alien official made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Those primitive weapons you carry, they're hardly worth mentioning. Keep them. They're about as dangerous as children's toys to our security systems." Behind Miller, Captain David Rogers of Earth's Security Force tightened his grip on his standard-issue rifle. The captain had insisted on bringing traditional firearms instead of the experimental energy weapons Earth scientists had developed. "Better to trust what we know works," he had said. The human delegation walked through the archway. Holographic displays sprang to life, showing detailed scans of their equipment. A group of alien officials gathered around the displays, pointing at the weapons and whispering among themselves. "Is something wrong?" Miller asked. An elderly alien with silver skin stepped forward, introducing himself as head of security Thompson. "Wrong. No. We're just amused. You humans still use chemical propellants and metal projectiles. How quaint. Most species abandoned such crude methods within their first century of space travel." Miller noticed how the alien officials didn't even bother scanning their weapons with the more sophisticated equipment. Their dismissiveness was obvious, but he kept his diplomatic smile firmly in place. "I see you've discovered gunpowder," another official chimed in, her crystalline body refracting the station's lights. "Don't worry. Give it another few centuries, and you'll figure out proper energy weapons. Though I must say, it's surprising the Council even allowed your species membership consideration at such a primitive stage." Captain Rogers stepped forward, his patience wearing thin. "Ma'am, with all due respect, these primitive weapons have served us well for centuries." The crystalline alien waved a dismissive hand. "Against other humans, perhaps. But you're in the galactic community now. Here, we have personal shield technology that can stop any energy blast. Your little metal pieces wouldn't even register on our defensive systems." The security team led them through long corridors of gleaming metal and pulsing lights. Alien diplomats from 100 worlds passed by, some humanoid, others completely foreign in appearance. Many stopped to stare at the humans and their weapons, their expressions ranging from amusement to outright pity. Miller heard snippets of conversations in translated standard. "They still use explosions to launch projectiles. How do they even manage space travel? The Council is really lowering its standards these days." They reached the antechamber of the Council chamber, where a final security officer approached them. This one had metallic scales and moved with fluid grace. "I must warn you," he said, "some Council members might be uncomfortable with your weapons. Not because they're dangerous, of course, but simply because they're so outdated. Perhaps you'd like to leave them here. Save yourselves some embarrassment." Miller shared a look with Captain Rogers. The captain gave a slight shake of his head. "We appreciate your concern," Miller replied diplomatically, "but we'll keep our standard security equipment if it's all the same to you." The scaled official shrugged. "Your choice. Though I suggest you attend the technology exhibition after the Council session. We have some fascinating displays about the evolution of weapons. You might find it educational. It's always interesting to see how far you have to go." As they waited to be called into the Council chamber, Miller watched the aliens around them. Every one of them wore personal shield generators, their surfaces shimming with protective energy fields. They truly believed themselves invulnerable. Miller thought back to his military history lessons. How many times had humanity's superior forces underestimated their opponent's weapons? How often had that mistake proven fatal? He had a feeling the Galactic Council was about to learn that same lesson. But for now, he straightened his tie one final time and prepared to represent Earth before the stars. Robert Greene stood in his assigned laboratory aboard the Council space station, surrounded by holographic displays showing human weapon designs. As the Council's military advisor, he had seen thousands of weapons from hundreds of species, but something about these human guns bothered him. "Computer, run the simulation again," he ordered, watching as the virtual bullet struck the standard Council energy shield. The shield flickered but didn't register the impact as a threat. According to the computer, the primitive projectile would simply bounce off. But something wasn't right. "Adjust parameters. Show me the shield's response at microsecond intervals." The simulation slowed down dramatically. Greene leaned forward, his eyes narrowing as he watched the bullet's interaction with the energy field. The door hissed open behind him. "Still playing with the human's toys?" asked Director Wilson, his metallic skin reflecting the blue light of the hologram. "The Council meeting is about to start." "These results don't make sense," Greene muttered. "Our shields are calibrated to stop energy weapons, plasma, even most physical objects. But look at this." He pointed to the simulation. "The shield doesn't recognize the bullet as a weapon. It's treating it like space debris." Wilson laughed. "Because that's essentially what it is. A piece of metal moving very fast. Hardly worth the Council's attention." Greene shook his head. "A piece of metal moving at 3,000 feet per second. Director, I think we're making a mistake dismissing these weapons." "A mistake?" Wilson's secondary arms crossed over his chest, while his primary arms gestured at the displays. "We've spent centuries perfecting our shield technology. Are you suggesting these humans, who barely understand space travel, have something to teach us about weapons?" "I'm suggesting we don't fully understand how their weapons might interact with our defenses." Greene pulled up another simulation. "Look at the energy readings. The shield is designed to disperse energy attacks, but these projectiles don't emit energy. They carry kinetic force." Wilson waved a dismissive hand. "The Council chamber is waiting, and they're not interested in primitive projectile weapons. They want to see our new developments in plasma technology." Greene gathered his data tablets, knowing he couldn't skip the Council meeting, but his mind kept returning to the simulations. As they walked through the station's corridors, they passed a group of human security officers, their rifles carried with practiced ease. In the Council chamber, hundreds of representatives from across the galaxy sat in tiered rows. Greene took his place at the military advisory panel, setting up his presentation on modern weapon developments. But he kept one screen dedicated to his bullet impact simulations. And now, the Council speaker announced, "A demonstration of our latest defensive technology." A drone floated into the center of the chamber, its shield generator humming to life. "This personal shield can withstand direct hits from our most powerful handheld energy weapons. Would anyone care to demonstrate?" Several Council members fired their energy weapons at the drone. Its shield flared brilliantly with each impact, but held firm. The chamber filled with appreciative murmurs. Greene studied his simulation data. The shield was working exactly as designed, dispersing the energy attacks perfectly. But his calculation showed something the others weren't considering. The shield's response time was calibrated for energy weapons, which moved at light speed. Bullets were much slower, but carried concentrated physical force. "As you can see," the speaker continued, "our defensive technology makes traditional weapons obsolete. Even the humans' primitive firearms would be useless against these shields." Greene wanted to speak up, to share his concerns, but he knew they wouldn't listen. The Council was too proud of their advanced technology, too certain of their superiority. Looking down at his data tablet, he made a quiet note. "Recommend full physical testing of shield response to projectile weapons. Priority. Urgent." As the Council members congratulated themselves on their technological achievements, Greene couldn't shake the feeling that they were all missing something dangerous. The humans hadn't survived this long by accident. Maybe their primitive weapons weren't so primitive after all. He looked at the simulation one last time before shutting down his tablet. The bullet, in extreme slow motion, was pushing against the shield's energy field. The shield wasn't stopping the bullet. It was barely slowing it down at all. Green had a feeling they would all learn this lesson the hard way. The emergency alarm blared through the council chamber, its harsh tone cutting through the usual calm atmosphere. Red lights pulsed along the walls as reports flooded in from the outer colonies. "Another human settlement attacked," announced Commander Paul of the Council Defense Force. His holographic image flickered above the chamber floor. "Third one this week. The pirates are getting bolder." Ambassador Miller stood from his seat, his face tight with anger. "How many dead?" 17 colonists, Commander Paul replied. "The pirates used Council shield technology. The colonists' weapons couldn't penetrate their defenses." Director Wilson's metallic skin rippled with annoyance. "If the humans had proper energy weapons..." "Enough." Miller's voice echoed through the chamber. "We requested help weeks ago. You dismissed us, said we needed to evolve our defense technology first. Well, now my people are dying." The council speaker raised his hands for silence. "We understand your frustration, Ambassador. But surely you see this proves our point. Your primitive weapons are simply not effective against modern defense systems." In the back of the chamber, Robert Greene watched the argument unfold. His simulations had predicted this. The pirates had realized that human colonies, armed mainly with projectile weapons, were easy targets, or so they thought. "The Council recommends," the speaker continued, "that Earth accepts our generous offer to supply energy weapons to your colonies. At a reasonable price, of course." Miller's laugh was bitter. "While our people wait months for delivery and training. No, we'll handle this our way." "Your way," a crystalline council member chimed in. "With projectile weapons that can't penetrate shields. That's suicide." The chamber's main display lit up with a new message. Admiral Thomas Ward of the Earth Defense Fleet appeared on screen. "Ambassador Miller, the fleet is ready. We await your command." The council chamber erupted in chatter. "You can't be serious," Director Wilson protested. "Your ships are barely space-worthy by our standards. The pirates use stolen council technology. Their shields will not save them," Miller cut in. He turned to the council speaker. "We requested help. You refused. Now we'll show you exactly what our primitive weapons can do." Green stepped forward, datapad in hand. "Speaker, I must inform the council that my research suggests this is not the time for your theories about outdated weapons." Director Wilson snapped. "The humans clearly need to see their error before they'll accept our help." The speaker nodded. "Very well. Since Earth insists on this course of action, we will send observers to document the engagement. Perhaps this will finally convince them to embrace proper modern weapons." Green watched Miller and Ward exchange knowing looks through the video link. There was something in their expressions. Confidence, not desperation. The pirates hit another colony. Commander Paul's hologram announced. "They're still in the system. Earth ships are moving to engage." The chamber's massive display split into multiple views, showing the approaching human fleet. Their ships were bulkier than Council designs, lacking the sleek energy weapon arrays that marked advanced spacecraft. "Magnify the human ships," Director Wilson ordered. "What are those protrusions?" Green zoomed in on the image, his heart sinking. The human ships bristled with what looked like oversized rifles, railguns scaled up to ship size, weapons that fired physical projectiles at devastating speeds. "They wouldn't," Wilson whispered. "The energy shields will." "Council observers are in position," Commander Paul reported. "Pirates have activated their shield systems. They're actually moving closer to the human ships. They think they're invulnerable." Miller stood straight, his voice firm. "Earth Defense Fleet, you have permission to engage. Show them what human weapons can do." The council chamber fell silent, all eyes fixed on the display. The pirate ships glowed with their energy shields, advancing confidently toward the human fleet. Green clutched his datapad, his simulations running through his mind. He alone in the chamber knew what was about to happen. The human ships opened fire. The council chamber was silent as everyone watched the massive display. The human ships faced the pirate fleet, their railguns aimed and ready. Council observers hovered at a safe distance, recording what they thought would be a quick defeat of the primitive Earth vessels. "Look at those fools," the lead pirate's transmission crackled through the chamber. "They don't even have energy weapons. This will be easy." His shield sparkled with blue light, the most advanced protection stolen council technology could provide. Admiral Ward's voice was calm over the comm system. "This is your final warning. Return what you've stolen and surrender. Otherwise, we will open fire." Laughter echoed through the chamber as the pirates responded. "Fire all you want. Our shields can stop anything." "Very well." Ward paused. "All ships, weapons free. Fire when ready." The human ships fired as one. Their railguns launched massive metal slugs at incredible speeds. The council members watched, some smirking, waiting to see the projectiles bounce harmlessly off the pirates' shields. They didn't bounce. The first slug hit a pirate ship's shield at 30 kilometers per second. The shield flickered, trying to identify the threat, but it was calibrated for energy weapons moving at light speed. By the time the shield registered the danger, the metal slug had already punched through. The pirate ship exploded. Impossible. Director Wilson jumped from his seat. The shields should have. More human ships fired. More pirate ships died. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons, might as well have been tissue paper against the massive kinetic force of the railgun slugs. "Evasive action," the pirate leader screamed. "Return fire. Return fire." The pirates' energy weapons flashed brilliantly against the human ship's armor. But Admiral Ward had prepared for this. The Earth ships' hulls were heavily armored, designed to absorb energy weapon impacts. "Second volley," Ward commanded. "Target their engines." Robert Greene watched his simulation play out in real life. The railgun slugs tore through shields and hulls like they weren't even there. In the council chamber, the aliens' expressions changed from amusement to shock to fear. "How?" The council speaker turned to Greene. "How is this possible?" "The shields," Greene explained, pulling up his data. "They're designed to detect and stop objects moving at near light speed. Energy weapons, plasma, lasers, but physical projectiles move much slower. By the time the shield recognizes the threat, the projectile has already passed through." On the display, a pirate ship tried to flee. A railgun slug caught it in the engine section. The ship spun out of control, its crew broadcasting surrender signals. "But they're so primitive," Director Wilson protested. "Just metal and explosives." Ambassador Miller stepped forward. "Sometimes the simple solution is the best solution. Your shields evolved to stop energy weapons, but you forgot about older threats. The battle was already over. Of the 20 pirate ships that had attacked the human colony, 15 were destroyed. The remaining 5 had surrendered, their crews shocked to find their invincible shields useless against human weapons." Council observers returning to base, Commander Paul reported, his hologram showing clear disbelief. "They've confirmed 15 pirate ships destroyed, 5 captured. Human casualties, 0. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives argued loudly about the implications of what they'd just seen. Their most advanced defensive technology had just been defeated by weapons they'd considered obsolete. Admiral Ward's voice cut through the noise. "Ambassador Miller, the Earth Defense Fleet has secured the system. The pirates won't be troubling our colonies anymore." Miller nodded. "Thank you, Admiral. Well done." He turned to face the council speaker. "Now about those technology exchange agreements we discussed. I believe Earth has something to offer after all." The speaker could only nod, still staring at the display showing the wreckage of the pirate fleet. In his corner of the chamber, Robert Greene smiled as he saved his battle observations. Sometimes, he thought, you didn't need fancy energy weapons or advanced shield technology. Sometimes, You just needed a really big gun and the sense to use it. The council's main viewing hall was packed. Representatives from 100 worlds crowded around the displays showing the battle footage. They watched again and again as human railgun slugs pierced supposedly impenetrable shields. Robert Greene stood at the front, pointing to a slowed-down recording. "Watch the shield's reaction," he said. "See how it flares after the projectile has already passed through. The defense system is too slow against physical objects." "But that's impossible," a blue-skinned weapons expert protested. "Our shields stop meteors and space debris all the time." "Yes," Greene agreed, "but those are relatively slow. These railgun slugs are different. They move faster than the shield's targeting system, but slower than energy weapons. They hit the perfect weak spot in our defenses." Director Wilson paced nervously behind the crowd. News of the battle had spread quickly through council space. Already, 3 more pirate groups had surrendered rather than face the human fleet. "Play it again," the council speaker ordered. "Focus on the 3rd pirate ship." The footage showed the massive railgun slug hitting the shield. In slow motion, they could see the shield trying to respond, the energy field distorting around the projectile. But by then, the slug was already through, tearing the ship apart. Ambassador Miller entered the hall, followed by Admiral Ward. The crowd parted for them, no longer showing any sign of their previous contempt. Fear and respect had replaced mockery. "The human delegation has prepared a report," Miller announced. "Full details of the battle, including shield penetration data." He paused. "We're willing to share this information for a price." "A price?" Director Wilson's metallic skin rippled with concern. "You're in no position to." "I believe," the council speaker cut in, "that Earth is in exactly the right position to negotiate. Please, Ambassador, continue." Greene pulled up his original simulation data. "I tried to warn you," he told Wilson. The mathematics were clear. "Our shields have a critical weakness against high-velocity projectile weapons." "Can the shields be modified?" someone asked. "Yes," Greene replied, "but it would require a complete redesign of the detection systems. We've spent so long focusing on energy weapons that we forgot about simpler threats." Admiral Ward stepped forward. "Earth is offering a joint defense initiative. We combine our technologies, your energy weapons and our projectile systems. Create something better than either alone." The footage played again. This time, they focused on the human ships absorbing energy weapon hits. Their thick armor glowed but held firm, another primitive solution that had proven surprisingly effective. "Look at their armor design," Greene pointed out. "No energy shields, just layers of advanced metals and composites. Simple, but effective. We could learn from this." "From humans," Wilson scoffed, but his protest sounded weak even to himself. "Yes," the council speaker said firmly. "From humans. They've proven themselves more than worthy of council membership." He turned to Miller. "Ambassador, the council is very interested in this joint initiative you propose." Miller nodded. "Good, because this is just the beginning. Those railguns? They're old technology. Wait until you see what our weapons developers have been working on." The crowd murmured. They'd dismissed humans as primitive, but now they wondered what other surprises Earth might have. "One question," Greene said, raising his hand. "The battle footage showed your ships firing in perfect coordination. How did you manage that without advanced targeting systems?" Admiral Ward smiled. "Who said we don't have advanced targeting systems? We just put them inside our primitive weapons." Understanding dawned on Greene's face. Humans hadn't rejected advanced technology. They'd simply applied it differently, enhancing their existing weapons instead of abandoning them. As the crowd discussed the implications, Miller addressed the council speaker. "Shall we discuss those technology exchange treaties now? I believe you'll find Earth has much to offer the council." The speaker looked at the battle footage one last time, watching as simple metal slugs defeated the most advanced shields in known space. "Yes," he said, "I believe we will." 3 months after the battle, the Council's military research center buzzed with activity. Where once humans had been mocked, now their weapons experts worked side by side with the galaxy's finest engineers. Robert Greene walked through the testing chamber, watching as a new hybrid defense system underwent trials. The shield glowed with familiar blue energy, but now it pulsed with additional layers designed to track and stop physical projectiles. "Fire the test round," he ordered. A railgun slug launched at the shield. This time, the defense system detected it instantly. The shield flared, combining energy dispersion with physical deflection. The slug slowed, stopped, and dropped harmlessly to the ground. "Now that," Ambassador Miller said from the observation deck, "is progress." Director Wilson stood beside him, his metallic skin reflecting the shield's glow. "I admit it," he said quietly. "We were wrong about Earth's technology. And about humans." The center's main hall had changed too. Where once only energy weapons were displayed, now Earth guns sat in places of honor. Council weapons manufacturers studied their simple but effective designs, learning lessons their own advanced technology had forgotten. "Look at this," a Council engineer called out, holding up a human sniper rifle. "The targeting system is amazing. Instead of energy calculation, it uses tiny mechanical adjustments. No electronics to fail, no power source to drain. It just works." Admiral Ward entered the hall, followed by a team of human and alien scientists. "The new combined fleet launches next week," he announced. "Every ship equipped with both energy weapons and railguns, plus the new hybrid shields. Pirates won't know what hit them," Miller said with a smile. "Pirates?" Wilson laughed. "They're surrendering just hearing about the new designs. No one wants to face ships that can defeat any defense." Greene pulled up the latest test results on his datapad. The numbers showed something remarkable. The combination of human and Council technology wasn't just effective, it was revolutionary. "We've got planetary defense requests from 12 systems," a Council coordinator reported. "They all want the new hybrid defense systems. And human weapons trainers." Miller nodded. "Earth's factories are working at full capacity. Who would have thought our primitive weapons would become the galaxy's most wanted technology?" The test chamber powered up again. This time, they were testing a new weapon, an energy rifle with human-style mechanical targeting. Simple, reliable, and devastatingly effective. "The thing is," Greene said, watching the test, "we never needed to choose between energy weapons and projectiles. Both have strengths, both have weaknesses. Together, they cover each other's gaps." "Speaking of gaps," Wilson added, "the Council voted this morning. Earth is being given a seat on the Defense Committee. We need your perspective." Miller raised an eyebrow. "The same Defense Committee that called our weapons toys." "The same one," Wilson admitted, "though we've learned our lesson about underestimating primitive technology." The test weapon fired, its energy blast guided by mechanical precision to hit a target too small to see with the naked eye. Perfect accuracy, achieved through the merger of two technologies everyone thought couldn't work together. "You know what the best part is?" Ward asked, watching the results. "Every time someone laughs at a human design now, they remember what happened to those pirates. Keeps people's minds open to new ideas." Greene smiled, remembering his early simulations. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, and sometimes the best way is combining old and new." The center's displays showed the new combined fleet in orbit. The ships looked different now. Sleek Council designs bristling with human weapons. Their hulls gleamed with layers of armor and energy shields working in harmony. "To think," Wilson mused, "all this started because we laughed at human guns." "No," Miller corrected him. "All this started because when you laughed, we didn't let it stop us. We knew what our weapons could do. We just had to prove it." In the test chamber, another successful trial ended. Human ingenuity and Council technology, working together to create something greater than either could achieve alone. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 year after the battle that changed everything, The council's grand chamber looked very different. Human representatives sat among the most respected members, no longer relegated to the back rows. Ambassador Miller watched with pride as the council's annual defense review began. Security incidents across council space have dropped by 70%. Commander Paul reported, his hologram displaying charts of the decline. The combined human council patrol fleets have effectively ended large-scale piracy. On the massive display behind him, footage showed the new patrol ships in action. Each vessel carried both energy weapons and railguns, protected by hybrid shields that could stop any attack. No one laughed at human weapons anymore. Earth's weapons manufacturers have fulfilled contracts for 57 worlds. Director Wilson added, his metallic skin gleaming under the chamber lights. The waiting list continues to grow. Robert Green, now head of the Combined Technologies Division, stepped forward to give his presentation. The merger of human and council technology has exceeded all expectations, he said. What we once saw as primitive has proven to be the missing piece in our defense strategy. The chamber's walls showed images of the latest developments. Council energy rifles with human mechanical sights, Earth guns enhanced with alien metals, ships that combine the best of both worlds. But most importantly, Green continued, we've learned to look past our assumptions. Every species in the Council has something valuable to teach us. Admiral Ward nodded from his new seat on the Defense Committee. The pirates learned that lesson the hard way. Now everyone wants their crews trained in both energy and projectile weapons. Can't rely on just one type of technology anymore. The Council speaker raised his hand for attention. We have a special announcement, he said. In recognition of Earth's contributions to galactic security, the Council has unanimously voted to establish the Combined Military Academy on human territory. Miller sat straighter in his chair. This was news to him. The Academy will train officers from all Council worlds. The speaker continued. They will learn both traditional and energy weapons, taught by human and alien instructors working together. The chamber erupted in approving murmurs. A year ago, such an announcement would have been met with laughter and disbelief. Additionally, the speaker added, we are officially retiring the terms primitive and advanced from Council documentation. Technology should be judged by its effectiveness, not its complexity. Director Wilson, who had once mocked human weapons, stood to address the chamber. I was wrong, he admitted openly. We were all wrong. We thought we had reached the peak of military technology. Humans showed us that sometimes the simple solution is the best solution. The main display shifted to show the new defense installations being built across Council space. Every one of them incorporated human designs alongside Council technology, old and new working in perfect harmony. The pirates' greatest mistake, Admiral Ward said with a smile, wasn't attacking human colonies. It was believing that more advanced always means better. And our greatest victory, Miller added, wasn't defeating the pirates. It was showing the galaxy that progress doesn't always mean abandoning the past. The Council session ended with a ceremony. The speaker presented Earth with a new title, Guardian of the Combined Technologies. It was a recognition not just of human military strength, but of their role in bridging the gap between old and new. As the representatives filed out of the chamber, Green approached Miller with his datapad. Remember when they laughed at our guns? He asked. Miller nodded, watching Council members discuss the latest hybrid weapon designs with genuine enthusiasm. Funny how things change. Now they're actually asking us to make our weapons more primitive. They say the simpler designs are more reliable. Simple doesn't mean primitive, Green replied. It took us centuries to perfect those designs. We just took a different path than the Council did. Outside the chamber windows, the combined fleet patrolled. Council ships and human vessels flew together, their crews no longer divided by technological pride. They had learned that true strength comes not from having the most advanced weapons, but from having the wisdom to use the right tool for the job. Sometimes that tool was an energy weapon that could vaporize a mountain. And sometimes it was just a really well-made gun.